Usually the first day of a convention is kind of humdrum with C and D list speakers. I think the first day of this convention was anything but. The biggest moment of the evening was around 9 o'clock when former President Trump came out into the arena.
Donald J. Trump.
Numerous speakers at the first night of the convention talked about the attempted assassination, but I don't think anybody talked about it with as much enthusiasm and spirit as Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina.
On Saturday, the devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back up on his feet and he roared!
Instead of Republicans kind of blaming Democrats for the shooting, which is what we heard the night of the shooting and the next day, today, the focus was a lot more on perhaps divine intervention saving President Trump's life.
I thank God that his hand was on President Trump.
You get a standing ovation. He had a bandage over his right ear. You could see, kind of how he bowed his head and said thank you many times to his supporters. It was a much different person than we'd seen in past weeks and months when he was kind of very combative. It looked like someone who obviously had been through a tremendous ordeal just in the past 48 hours, and you could just see an emotion on his face that I haven't seen, quite frankly, since I've been covering him, since he first ran for president in 2016. He sat next to Senator JD Vance of Ohio, which was the other big surprise of the night. Vance did an interview with Fox News when he talked about getting the phone call from former President Trump.
He just said, look, I think we've got to go save this country. I think you're the guy who can help me in the best way. You can help me govern. You can help me win.
The reception in the hall for JD Vance was really positive. The convention goers were thrilled.
JD, JD, JD,
JD Vance is just 39 years old, will be the third youngest vice president in American history if Trump is reelected. In picking JD Vance, President Trump picked someone who's half his age, but who shares many of the same viewpoints, and who's very good at articulating those viewpoints, especially in blue-collar America, places like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, which are going to be key to this election.
Delegates and alternates, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to announce that Senator JD Vance has the overwhelming support of this convention.
And lastly, the theme of the night was the economy.
Under Donald J. Trump, we once again will have that rip-roaring economy that lifts up all Americans. That is our tomorrow.
The title of the night was Make America Wealthy Again. And speaker after speaker after speaker talked about inflation, the prices of gas, housing, groceries, and how things they alleged were much better during the Trump administration than the Biden administration.
Gen Z has to pinch pennies just so that they can never own a home, never marry, and work until they die, childless. Under Biden, our young people own nothing and they are miserable.
We heard from small business owners, we heard from families, we heard from people who were kind of absorbing these costs every day.
Every time I fill up my gas tank, go to the grocery store, and try to pay the bills, I think, who doesn't miss the Trump days?
They're making the case that these cost increases have really made their lives hard, and that they need President Trump to somehow make the prices go down. We didn't hear a lot about solutions. We didn't hear how he would do that. Inflation has come down, something that really wasn't discussed much, but still, as we see from polling, inflation is a huge concern for a vast number of Americans. Even though the unemployment rate is lower, costs are very high. And so that's something that Republicans hope to capitalize on as we get closer to November.
Under President Trump, America had high growth and low inflation. Under Joe Biden, America has low growth and high inflation.
And this feels like a Republican Party that has a lot of confidence with less than 4 months to go. Things keep breaking their way in the courts, in the polls, and President Biden seems like he can't catch a break. So I feel like a lot of Republicans think they might not only win the White House, they might really take control of Washington next year. And that's a vibe that's very present here in Milwaukee, and that might only get more intense Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.